wonderful weirdos, my fellow weirdos. So this whole birthright citizenship thing, exactly how are they going to spin this? Because Tiffany Trump is the only Trump child that is not a birthright or a second generation child. All four others, Don Jr., Ivanka, Eric, and Barron, all are second generation. And before you say, yeah, but he's an American citizen because he has one of his parents was a citizen. The fact is, that may be true. But that's because of the birthright citizenship law. If one parent, even if just one parent is a U.S. citizen, but the other parent is not a U.S. citizen at the time of the child's birth, then that child is considered a second generation child. It's a second generation citizen. That is what birthright citizenship is. It's the second you were born in America before one of your parents was actually a legal American citizen. But his dad is a citizen. Yeah, fine! His dad's a citizen. But it's not two. Only one is a citizen. And if one parent is a citizen and one parent is not at the time of the child's birth, that child is a birthright second generation citizen. Which means if he wants to put that into effect, all four of them gots to go. And so does Melania. Because if you're not letting her child, then she shouldn't be here either. Because actually Melania shouldn't be here. And I have been saying this for over a decade. She did not legitimately get an Einstein visa. Donald thought they said an Epstein visa. And he said, yeah, give me one of those. I'm jumping on that. As I'm sure he did with a lot of things with Epstein. She was not illustrious, international, or anything. And that's what they're for. When they're excessive, they're going to be an incredible asset because they're excel in their field, or they're excessively popular or known in their fields, type of things. She had none of that. And her photo shoots, her modeling, her fashion shoots, you have to have fashion on. I mean, sheets aren't fashion, okay? And it all stopped once she was with Donald. She didn't do that anymore. Can you say mail order bride? Can you say broker, bride broker? Foreign bride broker? European bride broker? Yeah. Yeah. So, if he wants to play that game, and the people are still masked, why don't you take those four off and their mama? Well, only Barron's mama. The other three, their mother is already passed. And on their daddy's golf course. In an unkempt grave. Grass, weeds, everything growing waist high up there, because Bedminster was just failed their health inspection again. Out of a possible 100, they got a 34. This is the person that y'all are still trusting to run this country. And don't even say, well, look at what shape the country's in. Of course they need somebody like Trump. He put the company, or excuse me, the country, because he is running it like a company, right into the ground. He got a flourishing economy compared to what he left, for sure. And he's run it into the ground in 6 months. He has alienated everybody from America, other countries, and he has managed to dismantle the fiber of this country with his little puppet cohorts. Donald should know about sleeper cells, because he possibly very well could be Danila Kresnov. I mean, you don't get a name like that unless you've earned it. So, yeah. Sorry, there were 2 flies mating over there, and I had to break it up with the flamethrower. Oh, the torch. But well, at least I died doing it. Sorry, but can't have that in this house. But the babies all over. I can't have that. I just eradicated 99% of them, so not going back. Well, like I said, the flies died humping, so in a fiery crash like the dinosaurs. So anyway, which is basically what Donald is trying to do to America. I think personally, he's got a lot of anger issues, and he's got a lot of revenge issues, grudges, that he can never shake. They just rattle around in what's left of his little pea brain and eat him up alive. And part of the reason that is because he knows there's truth behind what's said about him. That's why things eat at you, because either they're completely untrue or they're totally true. If they're completely untrue, it eats you up and you're just like, what a fuck ass. And you just, whatever. Because the more you protest, the more you look defensive. Most of us stop. And he isn't. What did he just post the other day? I am not incompetent. I don't know if he was trying to say incompetent or incontinent, because he's been made mock about both of them recently. Is it both? Because he wrote incompetent with PID. And that's incontinent is spelt, but incompetent is E. So was he trying to say incompetent? I am not incompetent, or I am not incontinent. But either way, he's both anyway. Both incompetent and incontinent. I don't know, man. Just get your shit together, people. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of any other ways that if he wants to start doing that, how he would explain not having his own children who are birthright citizens. His daddy was a citizen. Their moms, none of their moms. Barron was 4 months old before she got her citizenship. Visas don't matter, it's citizenship. So, I don't know, I've just been trying to think. I mean, what would he, other than just blatantly say it's an authoritarianism move, and if I say so, they don't. So he can and he doesn't, and they have to, but they don't. Do you think that's what's gonna wind up happening? Because that's fucking nuts. They are the legal definition of birthright citizens. And you know, it's just a few generations back that they immigrated. It's not even like they have, 5 generations or 6 generations or, before Trump. He was like, what, 3rd generation? I think his grandparents moved here when his parents were young. Your immigration status doesn't go back all that far, Trump. And he's doing it to people that their families came over far, far longer. But because they have a complexion that he assumes in his narrow-minded, stunted brain, and he's making his decisions off of not only stunted, which is stunted and inaccurate assumptions and not facts. So that's a recipe of what fresh hell is this, for sure. Peace out.